Beyond crazy, wrote Albrecht, living in denial. I grew up across the United States and Canada. My father managed pro football teams. My dad was in football, my mom was in fashion. Following the trends of testosterone was the nature of my life. In the early 1970s, like any pre-teenage boy, I started, I guess you'd call it, experimenting. At the time, it was just one more thing you didn't tell your parents about. When you are growing up, you know the difference between right and wrong, good and bad. And then there is this third category that is like nuclear bad. And I don't know if it was intuition or what, but when Robbie said fag and explained it to me in the voice of a 13-year-old, I knew right then that I was doing something that was nuclear bad. It's not like it opened a Pandora's box of emotions. It was more like it shut the box tight. I knew I was in huge trouble. At 12 or 13 or 14, I don't think you really show, as the expression might go. And I knew from that moment on that I wasn't ever going to either. As a cover, I was maintaining relationship with girls. And it was, I think pathetic really best describes it. It was just a matter of this desperate need for companionship above the level of friends. And of course, when you get out of high school, you start living with them, and swearing devoutly that I would never physically betray them in the course of the relationship. Instead, I'd find other faults in her that I could focus on in order to bring the relationship to a point where I could terminate it, or give her the luxury of terminating it. Even today, living this way is tremendously common. 10 years ago, 75% of the gay men I met were in the closet, and of them, 75% were married, and I just could not comprehend how they managed to do it. For myself, there was a lot of substance abuse. There was a lot of physical rows and stuff. You know, picking up a fight just to blow off the frustration that was building inside you, particularly since I would continually seem to develop crushes on guys that were not in any way, shape or form available, and in fact, were so distant that there was no way that I could even broach the subject. You spend so much time trying to convince yourself that sexual orientation is not the center of your life, that is not the focus of your life, that it becomes the focus of your life by trying to fight it. And as soon as you give up the fight, as soon as you give in to the reality of what it is, it becomes not a secondary issue in your life or even a third issue in your life. It just falls off the chart. I was happy when I finally did it. Now I've managed to get even higher than that, because I think contentment is 2 or 3 steps higher. Now, you know what? If I meet somebody, I'm going to introduce them to my family at some point. Rod Albrecht is now the executive director of Fresh Start Cleaning and Maintenance, a psychiatric survivor-run community economic development business in Toronto. Fresh Start was recently named by Profit magazine for the second year in a row as one of the top 200 growing companies in Canada.